This is a scary story from a Reddit user. I was student teaching at an elementary school in a small rural town. The school was old and most of the students had either transferred out or dropped out. There were only 3 classrooms with a handful of students each. At the end of the day, I had to walk past one of the other teachers' classrooms to get to my car. I never went in there because no one was ever in it. The room was completely empty. One day, I was getting stuff from the supply closet that was attached to the room. As I walked through the classroom to get to the supply closet, I saw what looked like a full-body shadow of a girl sitting at one of the desks. I assumed it was just a trick of the light, so I didn't think anything of it. The next day when I got to school, there was a note on my door from the principal. It was to let me know that I was now in charge of room 304, the room I had seen the shadow in. Apparently, the teacher who was assigned to the room had resigned the day before without any explanation. So I had to go and check out this room. It was dusty and smelled like mildew. All of the furniture was old and scratched up, but everything was still there. It looked like the teacher had just up and left in the middle of the day. On one of the desks, there was a piece of chalk that was writing on its own. I watched in amazement as it moved across the page, writing the same thing over and over. Let me out. I don't remember exactly what I did after that. I think I went to get the principal. By the time we got back there, the chalk was just sitting on the desk like nothing had happened. None of the other teachers would go into that room with me, so I didn't press them to tell me anything about it. I started bringing my class in there for reading time, because we didn't have enough desks in our actual classroom, and every time I turned my back to the door, I could feel something watching me. I would get the distinct feeling that I was being watched, but when I would turn around, there was nothing there. Then the scratching started. At first it was really faint, like someone was just tapping the desk with their fingernails. But then it got louder and more aggressive. It sounded like someone was hitting the desk with a hammer. I would turn around, of course, and there would be no one there. My students would start getting freaked out, so I would just tell them that some kid was probably just trying to scare us, and we'd go back to reading. One day I brought my class in and chalk was raining down from the ceiling. I ushered my students out of the room as fast as I could. When I looked up, I saw a chalk outline of a handprint on the ceiling. It looked like someone had pressed their hand into the wet paint and then let it dry. Over the next few days, more handprints appeared on the ceiling, along with messages written in chalk. One said, "Don't turn your back on me," while another said, "You can't escape me." That was enough for me. I didn't feel safe in that classroom anymore. I asked the principal if we could at least board up the windows and doors, but he said that the school board wasn't going to allow it. He said that there was no need to make the kids feel claustrophobic. I quit the next day. I didn't think anything of it until I was driving home. I remembered that the room was at the end of a long hallway and the door was always propped open. But I distinctly remembered seeing the door closed when I ran out of that room. I turned around and went back to the school to check. Sure enough, the door was wide open. I couldn't help myself. I went in and sat down at that desk. I felt this overwhelming sense of sadness and despair. It was the worst feeling I've ever experienced. I got up and walked around the room, looking at the desks and chairs. That's when I noticed a pile of old yearbooks in the corner. I opened one of them up and saw a picture of a girl I recognized from the shadow I had seen. Her name was Mary. She had died in that classroom 20 years prior. She had been writing a story on that very desk when she had a massive stroke and died. They found her the next day after school when the janitor went to clean the room. Apparently, she was so excited about her story that she didn't even notice the signs of a stroke and just kept writing until she passed away. I don't know if that's why she's still there, but that's what I got from the other teachers. I've never felt a sadness like that before or since.